Welcome back to the homestead. So we've struggled with internet. You saw some of our struggles, the Nomad, Yes Mad, whatever you want to call it, video series. Um, Horrible company to deal with, in my opinion. Just all sorts of issues. You saw me rant about them the other day out in the driveway, billing the credit card, shipping me more product when I didn't ask for it. So pretty much right since the get-go, since the first couple weeks we had Nomad, we purchased a device from a company called Travel Data in traveldata.com. We'll leave a link to the website down below. And it's very similar program to Nomad. It's a little cellular router, and it talks through T-Mobile, just like the Nomad did. I think the biggest thing that I found different with these guys is they're about half the price, and they're responsive to the emails. I haven't actually looked real hard to see if I can find a phone number to call them for support, but if I email them, I almost within an hour get a resolution, or try this and email us back. I don't think we've ever been more than, let's say, half a day without internet with this thing. And most of the internet outages we've had, or actually all of the internet outages we've had, I believe, except for one, are due to the fact that here where we live in Maine, T-Mobile is really weak signal. I mean, really poor signal. So the antennas that come with it, if I set it up here in Sue's office where I'm at, it'll bounce between a 3G and a 4G signal. And what I can tell you with these devices, be it Travel Data, be it US Cellular, be it Nomad, they really don't like to work when the signal's below 4G. So if you don't have a 4G signal or better, they usually don't. They're just not reliable. So what ends up happening is this thing gets, I guess, confused, and it locks itself out of the towers because of the weak signal. And I was originally thinking it was a problem with the Travel Data. So I got a very helpful technician the last time who recommended an external antenna. So you can see I have the two leads on it. I can't show you the antenna because it's outside in the dark on a piece of PVC pipe on the side of the house. I bought the omnidirectional antenna because I want to start there. He recommended a directional, but I bought the omnidirectional because I want to see what it did. And I figured the omnidirectional would be good for going camping, because when you're in another state at a campground, you don't know which way the cell tower is. I mean, you can turn it and try to find it, but I figured we'd start here. And since we put the omnidirectional antenna on here at our house, this thing has been rock solid. We've had no quirks, no bumps in the road, no anything. We get pretty consistent 7 to 8 megabits per second down, 3 to 4 megabits up, and 40 to 50 millisecond ping. So while it's not a speed demon here, because again we are quite a ways from the tower, it's very, very usable. I mean, Sue and I can both use this for work with VoIP phones, one of us streaming a video, whatever the case may be, and it just works. So we're actually quite happy with it. It's not perfect in the fact that, it's not supported by T-Mobile directly where I can pick up the phone and just call them. But at the same sense, there's just not a lot of good options for places where there are no internet. Where we're at here, our options really are nothing. There is nothing on the road. There's no cable. There's no fiber. There may be DSL. It depends on the day of the week and who you talk to. The box, I don't know, maybe they call it a D-SLAM, whatever they call the box, that everything goes back to. Last time I talked to them, that was full. And neighbors that have it say you're lucky to get maybe 3 megabits per second down anyways. So we did actually sign up and put our deposit down on the Starlink. They are now covering our area, but of course, as you know or may know, they're actually fighting to get the boxes for the house built. The demand is greater than they're able to supply at the moment. And they're also running into an issue where they have to be careful they don't overload their base stations to feed the satellites. So the Starlink was really, the way I was explained to it was designed to be for remote places where there was no other option. It wasn't intended for 500 people in a building in New York to all have dishes on the roof and talk to Starlink. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. So currently what we do right now is we do a combination. When we're not on the road with a camper, we have this box here, which is similar to this one, but this is by US Cellular. And US Cellular is the company that we get our cell phones from. The tower this talks to is less than a mile that way. Line of sight, if we cut a hole in the wall, you'd be able to, well, maybe not quite see it through the trees, but darn near line of sight. And even this, with these antennas in the building, is down on signal. I mean, it works, but the signal level is not that great. This one does get us about 35 megabits down and about 5 megabits up when the tower is not loaded heavy. So nights, during the day when we're at work and, when we're here working and everybody else is at school, something that seems to work really good. Evenings and weekends, it's a little slower. But that being said, we'll take the travel data with us to Florida on our trip. And last time when we took it to Tennessee, we had the one outage, or the one problem I told you that was not related to our signal level. We had a outage. I don't even remember where we were, somewhere between here and Tennessee or on the way back. And I sent an email off to them, and within 10 minutes they'd email me back, told me T-Mobile was having like a nationwide issue and they expected resolution any minute now. And I think within about 30 minutes it came back. But that turned out not to be travel data. That turned out to be a T-Mobile nationwide issue. So yeah, I mean, it's been decent. They have two plans. I haven't really experimented with the plans yet. We're on the more expensive plan. So our plan, I think, is about $80 a month. The other one is, I think, $50 or $60 a month. And they claim you get better speeds out of the more expensive plan. I do wonder if I should try the slower plan, because we're pretty much limited by the tower and the signal here. So I may be paying an extra $30 a month for no gain. I don't know. But we'll see. On the surface, like I say, it works. It's not as, it was nowhere near as frustrating as Nomad. And we're going to keep going with it for now until something better presents itself. The good thing is you'll see, or did see in the video prior to this, depends on which one I release first, the camper we set up with this router called a Spruce Wi-Fi router, and it's able to connect to multiple sources. So the camper has its own network of its own router, and then you tell it, hey, look for the travel data router. That's number one. Hey, look for Sue's cell phone as a hotspot. That's number two. And it will roll over automatically. It'll share the data. So we have some options there. The one thing that we run into, this is truly unlimited. There is no data cap on this. This, through US Cellular, is limited to 200 gigabytes a month, and then they slow you down so much it's unusable. In most cell phones, when it comes to tethering, so if you want to connect your laptop to it, most cell phones have a pretty small limit. Like I think ours is 25 or maybe 50 gigabytes a month. So one thing we talked about is our cell phone plan currently has 3 phones on it. Like, we could actually add a 4th phone for about $20 a month, and that would give us another 50 gigabytes a month of data on that phone. So we don't know what we'll do for sure, but like I said, this is working well in the camper. It's working here at the house as long as it's on the outside antenna. But yeah, that's where we're at. So would I recommend travel data? I think I would if you plan on actually traveling around, or especially if you live near a T-Mobile tower. If you're off-grid somewhere in the middle of the woods, but you've got a great T-Mobile signal, this is going to be a great device for you. If you don't have a good T-Mobile signal, this may be very problematic for you, because one thing I can tell you is that it doesn't like long-term roaming on other towers. So it really wants to talk to a T-Mobile tower. When you're traveling around in your camper, it's very, workable there. So yeah, I think I would recommend it for you if you don't have any other solution. I'd recommend it before I would recommend like HughesNet satellite, for example. Or of course dial-up or anything crazy like that. The other thing you can do is you can get hotspots from your cellular company, but again, they're going to have some pretty limited data caps on them, so it depends on what you're doing. Sue and I average probably about 250 gigabytes a month of data here between working and watching TV and etc. So yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm going to wrap this up, but like I say, definitely do your due diligence, but We're much happier with the travel data than we were with the Nomad. And we'll give you some updates on it as we go through Florida. We're going to stop in Virginia and tour some caves and try our hand at winter camping and go from there. It's kind of funny. It's a little tangent, which you guys all know I like to go off on tangents. I thought, well, there's all these caves in Virginia, and Sue really loves caves. Virginia is like almost to Florida, so it should be like really warm. So we're riding around today, and I asked Sue to look at her phone. I'm like, hey, that campground we're looking at in Virginia, what's the weather like? She goes, it's 34 degrees. I'm like, oh, crap, it's just like home. So kind of a funny joke, but anyways, we're still looking forward to it. So any questions on the travel data or, the U.S. Cellular or the Nomad even, go ahead and leave them down below. We'll do our best to answer them. And as soon as we see that Starlink, we'll bring you guys along for an unboxing and figure out how that's going to work. We're really excited about that. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.